All right. Hello and welcome, everyone. So today we are going to be talking about Baruuk. And the reason we're talking about Baruuk is because he needs a builds video, because he's pretty good at the Steel Path. If you guys are still looking for a Warframe to use on the Steel Path, Baruuk is a solid option for a number of reasons. And for that, we are using this build. This build is not particularly crazy, except for it is a lot of Forma, and this kind of just does everything that Baruuk wants to do. We have a lot of range, so that we can hit a lot of things with his 4. We're using his Augment Reactive Storm, so that he can kind of adapt to any situation, and also gain a lot of status chance. We are using enough strength to make the damage much more relevant, and we have a decent amount of duration and regular efficiency, along with a big patch up for Baruuk, which is primed sure-footed. Of note here, primed sure-footed was, at some point, I actually don't know when, changed to be actual real immunity to knockdowns, as opposed to putting you in like the stunned but block state that was slightly shorter than being knocked down. This is now actual true immunity to knockdowns, so this is a much better mod now, and why I have included it here, because it's great for Baruuk to not be knocked down, as that is like the #1 way Baruuk would usually die. And also, things that are worth noting on this build, I'm using Brief Respite, and the Augur mod bonus is actually a really big positive here. So we have the 2 Augur mods and Brief Respite, and this makes it so that if I am going to use a Decaying Key, anytime I would hit 2 or 3, my shields would be fully restored, which means I would regain my shield gate. And that basically makes it safe to cast your 2 or your 3 in literally any situation you happen to be in. So you're never going to be like caught out casting one of those abilities, because you will be invincible for the duration of casting it, because you'll get your shield gate back. In addition to that, we are using Rolling Guard. So if you're ever in any kind of situation where you would usually be in trouble, you simply roll and then you're out of the trouble. The trouble no longer exists. All the statuses get purged. So like if you got a status, that doesn't matter. And you're completely invulnerable for 3 seconds. And this has a 7-second cooldown, so there is a 30% uptime on this, which is honestly, for complete and total invulnerability, pretty good, especially whenever you can just not dodge and use it when you need it. And most of the time, Baruuk's not in danger. However, we are not going to be using a Decaying Key setup here, because like even if you don't do it, the Augur mods and Brief Respite are generally going to keep your shields up. Because you're a Baruuk and you have access to your 2 and your 3, which does some like minor CC to enemies around you. Now, there is the matter of his Desert Wind build and also his stat stick, which we still use, even though there is no Zorus. So for Desert Wind, it is a pretty basic build. You're not allowed, like all the other Exalted weapons, to use like the really good mods or build combo with the main part of this. So there's no Blood Rush to be used. No Weeping Wounds, no stuff like that, and your waves don't build combo. So you pretty much just slam all of the damage into here. Sacrificial Steel for the crit, we're at 160% crit chance, we're going to crit all the time. And our heavy attacks are going to get double bonuses from Sacrificial Steel, so they are going to hurt like a motherfucker. But yeah, other than that, like we have like, you know, attack speed, and then just raw damage all the way down. Pretty simple build, all things considered. It is worth noting that if for whatever reason you wanted to invest Umbral Forma into this, you could do double sacrificial mods, but honestly, that's super unnecessary. And, you know, just very not needed in general. However, we are also using the Venka Prime. Now, the reason we're using the Venka Prime is because we have this Baruuk stat stick for the Venka Prime. What the Baruuk stat stick is basically a bunch of attack speed, reach, and all of the gladiator mods. Why is it all of the gladiator mods? Because these give you 30% critical chance per combo multiplier. So the combo multiplier that you build up on the Venka will give you the gladiator buff, which will apply to your 4. That's how this has worked for the longest time. But there are some other interesting things here. Obviously we have all the combo duration. Luckily, one of the gladiator mods is combo duration, so we have 33 seconds of combo duration. Great. That means we're going to maintain our combo for 30 seconds without needing to slap someone one time with the Venka. So, you know, the vast majority of the time, this is going to be up unless you forget about it. And it's kind of annoying to, like, drop out of your 4 and just, like, tap a guy once to reset it. But, you know, whatever. We're using Vermilion Storm because this is extremely fast in building up combo. And then, the Quickening gives us more combo count chance and the attack speed, and then Reflex Coil. Now, the reason we're using Reflex Coil is actually a little interesting. We do not want to use Focus Energy because this gives us electricity damage. And you might be wondering why we don't want the electricity damage, but that's because we actually want to keep the damage on the Venka as low as possible so that it builds combo super fast. Because honestly, even with like no damage mods, which is what you're seeing here, the Venka can legitimately still kill enemies, which, while hilarious, we want to mitigate that as much as possible because we want to be in Baruuk's 4 dealing damage because it does it in a much larger area. So what Reflex Coil does is it gives us melee combo efficiency. So even if there are no enemies around, the combo efficiency here, combined with the combo efficiency you get out of the Zeneric tree, is going to make it so that we can just heavy attack to reset our combo and only lose 10% of the combo that we built up. So even if we're like between defense waves or whatever, and there are just no enemies, we can just lose 10% of our combo every 30 seconds or so. And have it all gained up. And whenever you're only losing 10%, if you're at 220, you're gonna lose like just slightly over 20 hits, and gaining 20 hits back is trivial at best. It's just annoying, which was the thing that the Zorus was removing. But now we go back to this. So yeah, we're gonna show this off. Basically, this is just like use your lull and use Desolate Hands to build up your meter. And then Serene Storm. The reason that this has gotten much better with the Steel Path and why I would suggest using it there is because enemies live long enough to be affected by Lull and Desolate Hands, as opposed to in the regular star chart, where there are much more efficient Warframes that have a 100% uptime. In the Steel Path, those Warframes are a little bit less powerful, or at least they don't clear instantaneously, which gives you time to do Baruuk things. But yeah, basically, you whip out the Venka. We're going to do the usual test, but we're going to do it at level 175 to kind of simulate, some of the toughness that we can get out of the Steel Path enemies. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. You're going to use the block and hold forward combo on the Venka because this hits a shit ton of times. You can see we're already at our 13x combo that has the Venka's main passive, and then we just do this. Oh. They were lying down, but they weren't dead. But yeah, that's what Baruuk does. That's Baruuk's thing. And then just to show off the heavy attack thing, I am using Zeneric. So whenever I do this, I go from 240 to 216 combo. And obviously I lose very hello there. I lose very little. Must have knocked him out the window. I lose very little whenever I do that heavy attack, and I gain an extra 30 seconds of my combo meter. And it's already the longest combo meter I can possibly have. So, yeah. Well, it's the longest combo meter I can possibly have without a Riven, of course. Which, hilariously, of course, that's the way that you would improve this. But yeah, that's what Baruuk does. That's kind of the whole point. And yeah, there's really not much more to say. Like, you go into your 4 and you slap dudes. And you use the Gladiator buff in order to get some of that sweet Blood Rush action that, honestly, Baruuk should already have access to, and that the Exalted Weapons should all be changed to actually conform to the combo system that is the core of Melee. But that's a topic for another day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully this has helped you on the Steel Path if you're still working through it. I will see you tomorrow.